Welcome to New Meta, episode 33, Emerging Heroes. The Magic Tea, Taco, come dine with me. It's going to be a good one.
Emerging Heroes, I don't mind that.
Good one, we'll see about that.
Emerging Heroes in 7.22D. I mean...
Wait, are we the Emerging Heroes, or are we talking about Emerging Heroes?
Oh, well, that's just the beauty of this episode title, have it whichever way you want. I mean, I had intended to say that we're talking about Emerging Heroes, but, you know, I'm happy for you to... You can be my Emerging Hero if you want.
Absolutely.
Marco, the listeners are chomping at the bits to know whether or not you've booked your plane tickets to Shanghai.
Well, obviously...
With the TI9 open qual story that we were eagerly anticipating.
Obviously, I backed myself so hard that I did book tickets anyway.
Just to show intent.
Just to show intent. So it's all about game theory. You burn the bridge, you've got to fight. Bit of Art of War. However, first run, we didn't quite make it the full stretch. Fell at technically the third hurdle. So we got a bye. Won one game, lost one game. So 50% win rate is pretty respectable in the Pro Dota scene. So I'll take that.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. You got a bye in the first round. Is that... I presume loads of teams got a bye, I guess.
Yeah, that's just because of the way the number of teams add up and whatnot.
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought that they sort of do seeding with Faceit, so I was surprised that you got a bye. I thought they'd give byes to like higher ranked teams or whatever.
Yeah, they do rank teams depending on your Faceit account rank. Between you get a ranking from 1 to 10, but then I did see some teams and players. It's not always 100% accurate, so maybe it wouldn't be the most reliable. But yeah,
right.
I'd shout out the team that represented the new meta squad of KMM and Nice Day and Greeny and Kingfisher.
Yeah,
an old teammate. So yeah, we had a good fun playing a few games together.
Yeah, did it feel any different to Captain's Mode? Presumably it's just like a bit of CM fun. Was it the drafting experience and all that good stuff?
Well, yeah, I enjoyed having a thinking about the drafting and not only, okay, what's a good draft, what are good heroes, but then very much tailoring it towards the team and what works best with the players that we've got and the resources we've got, if you like. I think game one draft and play styles all went very well. Game 2, the biggest screw up was we had an MK pick thinking we could lane it against the Doom off lane, and then they came back with a Razor, and basically we were like too flustered and incompetent to react optimally to deal with this Razor, so we ended up having a monkey laning against the Razor, which is bad. And then I picked a mid against the mid that wasn't that great as well. And so we got off to a bad start there, and then they were all like high Divine Immortal players, so then the game was naturally very hard and it quickly got out of control. Bit of a shame that happened in the second game, but it was still fun. Good learning.
What was the mid matchup in the second game?
So I ended up picking Quap against Ember, and I kind of picked Quap because I was like, it's one of my most familiar heroes. Let's just take a somewhat comfort pick.
You didn't lane the monkey mid against the Ember.
That's what we were thinking, and it's what we should have done. We were thinking, I could have done a monkey mid, but then we were thinking, we didn't know what then to pick for our safe lane, and we didn't know what would work against the Razor. After the game, someone said anti-mage, like blink away, PA. I said after the game could blink away. But just in that drafting phase, we were like really struggling to.
Yeah, you could just do it. You could just slap the Quap there, honestly.
Yeah, Nick even mentioned that maybe that could have worked. I think anything would have been better than what we did because we ended up just not adapting. We were trying to adapt, but we couldn't. We didn't have the brain power or experience to actually think about a new adaptation. So that ended up, shafting us pretty hard. And Quap against Ember, it felt really bad because he would just max slight and harass me, and I can't harass him, and it felt really bad. It was that game was rough, but the first proper game we played was, I think, very good. I think the draft worked really well. Tide. KMM played this legendary Tide performance. If anyone's interested, they should definitely check it out. He did really well there. But yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, I mean, sounds good. That's definitely an episode that I want to slap firmly in the pipeline. Not one, how to play in a team of different abilities, like how to best formulate a team out of players that have different skill levels. And then also another one I want to do is how to beat a Smurf and like how you should be playing if you are way above. Like, you know, when you party with us and you're like the best player rank wise by quite a while, like if you really want to win a game in that situation, what should you do? And likewise on the other way, if you've got a Smurf on the enemy team, like what should you do about it?
Yeah,
basically just all on the topic of just different skill levels.
Yeah, they are interesting questions. It's like when we've played against rank 150 Clinxes and stuff, and that's the game we have won, which was heroic. Also, when you were suggesting episodes, it made me think, I wonder if you could do a kind of game draft episode. I wonder if that would be of interest, like kind of hypothesizing about drafts and team matchups and like how, like, not how they work, but like just kind of an example draft and why it would be good or bad and thought processes. And I don't know if that's interesting to me. Definitely. Just thinking a bit more about actual drafting in the run up to this, I was like, yeah, it is kind of fun to think about. And you can see why coaching is this kind of full-time job for the pros, because there's just so much to consider.
That's 2 more episodes there. One of just team comps in general, what you want out of a team comp sort of thing. Me and Adam have already baked a cake, mind you, in our famous cake episode talking about team comps.
Oh yeah. But I was there as well. That was a good episode.
Oh, the one, yeah. You were there until we started baking a cake.
Oh, then I had to leave, yeah.
And then you left,
And then the cakes came out, that's right.
And then the cakes came out and the episode derailed.
Eggs were on the floor.
We save baking for special occasions.
Yeah. And then also, like Captain's Mode, specifically, like drafting is another ep. I feel like we'd need to do some research, or at least I would, and perhaps you. Adam obviously has RD2L experience of drafting to fall back on. But yeah, that's definitely one for the pipeline. Speaking of drafting an RD2L, Adam, we get a long-awaited update to the plight of your season with the new meta pod squad. You actually got a game this time, right?
Plight is the right word. Yeah, the other teams showed up this week for the first time in a while. And we lost our first game really hard. But we actually won game 2. It's the first time we've won. It was I think we're in week 6. We just completed week 6. So it was the first time we won a real game since week 2 of the season.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a long time. But then we somehow we're 6-6. So we're still in the running for the playoffs.
How many weeks are there?
8.
8?
I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crunch time.
16 total games, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this first game looks like we lost 70-31 in a 57-minute game. And yet we held strong.
That's a bonkers game.
Yeah.
What heroes did you trot out in the games?
That game we did Darkseer, Spearbreaker off lane, but then our safe lane lost so hard that Spearbreaker had to go bottom the whole time. So then we lost the Darkseer lane too, and we lost all 3 of our lanes. So that was pretty sad.
The trademark triple lane loss.
Yeah, it kind of spiraled. But looking at it, Darkseer Ags is pretty solid item because I have the most damage in the game by like 20,000 over the next closest person. 77,000 damage as a Darkseer.
What's his Ags do again?
His wall illusion deals like 140 or 150% damage.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So if you copy a Chaos Knight that has Heart, Butterfly, Scotty, and BKB, he actually chunks the other team pretty hard. That was what we were going for all along. Just get so behind so I can make really beefy illusions. Yeah.
What hero did you have that you could delay the game to 57 minutes despite having
Medusa.
70 deaths? Like Medusa, Snorri.
Yeah. I bet Puck won mid against Medusa, and then it kind of spiraled out of control. So
being able to phase shift the snake is so nice. My goodness, I hate snakes so much.
Yeah, it's
Also,
one of the saddest spells known to mankind. When you get hit by the last bounce of the snake, not only lose 500 HP, but all your mana pool as well. It's like GG, game's lost.
And also, like, post level 15, is it 15 Deucer that gets the talent, or is it 20?
Yeah, the Mana Steel.
Yeah, the Mana Steel. And then, like, late game Deuce is a joke as well. You snake them in the late game and they have no mana. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
But we never really got there. And then, but game 2, we actually stomped pretty hard. So, it says we drew the lanes, but I think we won the lanes. I played Slardar, so we had Slardar Grimstroke off lane, and I got a pretty quick Midas, so then I just got to be a farmed boy.
Midas Ags? Puddledar?
I went Midas, Echo Saber, Treads, Blink, BKB, Ags. So I did finish with the Ags.
So you wanted to be a Sven, but all you do instead is
much. Well, I mean,
slap some
you
water.
You just bash the Life Stealer, make him really sad. Or you bash the Timbersaw, make him really sad.
It's such a nice game when you can play a Slardar and be like there or thereabouts, top of the net worth. Those Slardar games are so fun when you just run around just doing work.
Yeah, particularly Midas as well for that. That attack speed is really high.
Yeah. And you sort of like set the tone yourself.
It actually feels like a completely different hero with Echo Saber. You get the bashes off way more often, like multiple bashes off on a target. So that's pretty cool. I hadn't really tried that yet because I've always been behind on Slardar. We drafted like a first phase Kunkka, wanting to put it mid.
That's asking for a counter pick, right?
Because the other team are a bunch of Kunkka spammers, and we were going to like switch positions for a third time this season because of how poorly the first game went. But then, so we like drafted it, and they're like, "Oh, we can flex this wherever." And then we picked Slardar. Okay, we got 2 melee cores, and then we picked Ursa, and we're like, "Okay, we got 3 melee cores," and we banned TA.
You banned TA.
Yeah,
Torrent's so nice against TA, I think, because doesn't it get rid of all the charges?
They banned OD, and then we banned TA, and then we picked Ursa, wanting to do Ursa safe lane, but then they last picked Timbersaw. We're like, Timber into 3 strength melee courses is really going to be tough. But then they laned Centaur mid instead of Timbersaw mid, and we ran the Ursa in the mid, and Nightrod just stomped. He went 16-1-10. So I don't know what was up with that. I feel like you're supposed to put Timbersaw middle that game, but I'm not complaining.
Nice. Well, I guess the RD12 updates only get more important from here on out. 2 big updates.
Yeah.
And then hopefully more when the playoffs roll around, but we'll see.
Also, shout out to Penella she wasn't going to be able to make it, and then she showed up. She played from, I think she's in the UK. She was like on a vacation, so she was playing at like 2 to 4 in the morning.
Oh wow, that's intense.
From a castle. So
that's what Brits live in.
Pretty
standard.
Yeah,
castles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the NA listeners out there, that's just standard.
Castle internet was strong enough for us to get a win.
Yeah.
Nice. So, our episode today, basically talking about emerging heroes that not necessarily are in the meta or emerging simply because of 7.22D, but perhaps nudged over a little bit and starting to be seen more and more. A hero that we wanted to talk about, and that we will, is Enchantress. This hero has been boosted up by 1.5% after 7.22D, which I think is the joint highest increase in win rate along with PL. And we have a Sproink player in Adam. So Enchantress I am basically going to be educated this episode because I feel like I don't know anything about Ench, really. I feel like I've only played this hero like once or twice. I guess the first place to start is, what is the attraction of Ench? What does Ench do really well as a hero? What's like the best parts of playing an Ench, do you think?
Okay. She's one of my favorite heroes. I feel like no one plays her, though, which makes me sad.
Low pick rate, yeah.
Yeah. 86 in popularity, it looks like. So that's bottom quarter. What she does best, I mean, she's kind of like a good, well, I wouldn't say good. She's kind of like Chin. You can pressure a lot. The creeps are pretty strong early, and you can take any creep at level 1, which is nice because Chin can't do that anymore. Yeah, I think it's, so I play her as a support a lot, but I do kind of like the same thing if I play at 3 or like 5. I feel like it's a trap to put points into untouchable, so I just don't do that at all until later because you're so fast. Just like position well. Hopefully nobody goes on you. Like her other spells scale really well and do a lot.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think it's worth shouting out. There are games where I think Ench could be picked as this OP counter pick, where say they've got just excess amount of right click and little spell casting. Say they've got 3 agi heroes or something stupid, or just no int heroes, then the max untouchable build can just wreak havoc. But I think,
but I don't think you do that
from a scenario.
From a 5 position, though.
Oh, so you play a 5, not even a 4. You're just like a hard.
No, it was a hard 5.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So Enchant is underrated OP. So level the W, and not as something to use on a creep, to use on a hero. So it's a 3.75 second, 55% move slow.
Yeah, so it's like a gale, a venomous gale that you don't miss because it's targeted.
Yeah, and then so that makes it really strong early, but then what makes it really strong at all stages of the game is that it purges or dispels the target. So the reason why I picked it yesterday is the first 3 heroes they picked were Shadow Shaman, Necro, and Wind Ranger. And I've been seeing a lot of Wind Ranger, and she's really annoying to deal with. But then she pops Wind Run, and you just enchant, and instead of her running away, being completely immune to all physical and really fast, she just becomes super slow, and you just blow her up with your impetus, and everyone else on the team can just hit her again.
Wait, did you say that casted enchant casts a dispel?
Yes, that's what makes the spell really good.
I'm on the wiki page, and I'm struggling to see this.
This is the dispel type, basic dispel. So, Ursa pops Overpower to start hitting you. You purge off Overpower.
You purge off, like, you can purge off Strafe. You can purge off. Can you purge off Warcry? I think you can.
Yeah, you can purge off, Surge. You can purge off lots of. There seems like there's a lot of buffs right now.
You can purge like Necro.
Yeah.
I feel like we're
Pugna, Decrep. I mean, it's a nullifier basically. So
you can purge off Jingu. You can purge off Jingu stacks as well. You can't purge off the number, but when he gets the Jingu, you can purge it off. I believe because you can do that with yours, which is a basic dispel. So I'd imagine it'd be the same.
Yeah, purge. Yeah. It's so strong as just a concept.
Yeah. So that spell makes her really strong.
Can you purge off Battery Assault? Or is that undispellable? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, that just thought came into my head.
But the slow duration scales, and the cooldown. So it goes from 3.75 to 6 at max. That's a 6-second slow with an 8-second cooldown. So
yeah.
And then the creeps last longer. Last like 80 seconds at level 4. So you can just you basically can keep an army of creeps going indefinitely if you want to do that.
Yeah. Plus the mana cost scales down as well on the enchant, so it's not even like you're killing your mana pool to just perma enchant something.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at this enchant spell, it looks like a level 2 enchant is so high value. Obviously, every spell gets stronger as you add points to it, but just thinking about a level, just putting just 2 points into this and then going to say something like Nature's Attendance, which I imagine you are going to speak about a little bit, but a 4.5 second slow at level 2, and then your enchant duration's 44 seconds. That's a big jump from 26.
It goes up 18 per level, so
that's a big jump. And then it's a 16-second cooldown spell. It's still only 50 mana. Really strong value points in this spell.
So the skill build, you mentioned you think it's a chapter level untouchable.
I think that depends on what position you're playing the Ench, though. Yeah,
so that's exactly what I was going to say, is when you play at 3 versus play at 5, obviously it goes about you saying the supports are going to approach a lane differently to cores because they're not trying to CS. But maybe in terms of skill build and stuff, how are you looking to do the laning differently, or what things are you looking out for? Basically, the early game differences between the 3 and the 5.
Yeah. You can go the max as a 3 or as a mid if you want to like just stomp a lane. But it doesn't feel good. I feel like you could be doing more, right?
Instead of doing what? Max.
Instead of just like annoying a carry, you could like be killing people.
Is the 5 Enchantress more all about sort of using enchant to do lots of work as a 5 in the lane?
I mean, it's that and the Nature's Attendance. I mean, they think they can kill you because you don't have untouchable, but they actually can't because you heal an absurd amount. And plus, like, early levels, it's minus 20 at level 1. I feel like it's such a bad first level. Minus 20 attack slow. First level untouchable. It's like negligible. So I don't get it as a 5 until like everything else is maxed.
Yeah.
I could see you leaving. You could probably leave enchant at 2, but I don't know. I like it. Getting off 2 of them in a team fight's really strong, especially if they have multiple things in a spell.
So how many levels did you say to put into enchant? What would you skill as this 5?
So at level 5, I'm 0, 2, 3 skill build.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that.
And then at 9, I'm 0, 4, 4, 1.
Also fine with that, yeah.
Yeah. But what's buffed, I mean, enchant's been buffed for like multiple patches, but not this last patch. That's not, like, they really changed the cooldown on it and made it a lot more spammable. But what they changed in the last patch, besides giving her 1 armor, is the amount of healing she's getting from the Nature's Attendance. So instead of it being a flat 10 heal per wisp, it scales up. It goes 10, 11, 12, 13 for every level, and then the wisps go to 4, 6, 8, 10. So
yeah,
it basically means when you have it at level 7, it's doing 130 heal per second, and that lasts for 11 seconds. So it's like 1430, I think, healing.
Yep.
Something like that. And then that's just the base spell. Then if you go into talents at 15, so if I did this as a 5, I do think if you're a 3, you get the damage talent because plus 50 damage. Level 15 is really strong and goes really well with the impetus. But if you're not like required to kill, be like the main source of your right click, you can go plus 8 Nature's Attendance wisps. So it goes from 10 to 18 wisps. So that's like 80% more heal. And then I got the level 25 last time I tried it, which means I went the plus 25 Nature's Attendance heal, which means instead of 13 heal per wisp, you're getting 38 heal per wisp. And if you multiply that by 18, it's a lot.
My goodness, that's some maths right there. That's like a
It's
billion
38
heal.
times 18.
So I've got the numbers here. So to illustrate it for the listeners, level 7 Nature's Attendant with no talents is 1.4k health over its full duration of 11 seconds. So that's a significant amount of health over not that long amount of time, 11 seconds, right? Then with the talent, the first level 15 talent of more wisps, it jumps to 2.6k health over 11 seconds. Pretty impressive. And then both talents, so now at 25, you get, like you say, more heal per wisp, 7.5k health healed over 11 seconds.
And that's without items or like strength.
Amplifying.
Yeah, amplifying anything.
Holy Locket.
I've thought about it. But then there's also like you could go Super Urn or Spirit Vessel or whatever. But I just went into a lobby, leveled Enchantress level 25, and then like had an axe bot like Dagon me down, and popped the wisps with the talents, and it heals about 700 per tick, which is 3 mechs worth of heal in 1 second. And then that's just the base hero at level 25. If you have like I don't know, like an Atos or something, or just some strength things. I mean, if you put a heart on her, which you would never buy, it heals like 300 more. So it's like you're doing 1,000. That's probably just for her. I don't know. It was crazy in the game I played. I just like people were low and I popped it, and then 1 second later they were at full health, and you're just ready to go again. And it felt very strong.
You're the ultimate skirmish partner with this immense heal. No other hero could match that level of healing.
Yeah.
Even without talents and stuff. Like, that's... I mean, certainly with at least that level 15 talent, you've got the best healing capability of any hero in the game.
So, can I just ask quickly, these wisps, you get 4 wisps at level 1, say, does 1 wisp heal 1 hero per second? Or if you stand next to Ench, does like 1 wisp heal both of you for 10 a second? How does it work?
I believe it.
Each
all the wisps go on one thing.
Each wisp chooses a random allied unit to heal. So the heal targets are chosen completely random without any priorities. Multiple wisps can randomly select the same unit.
But if you're full, it won't hit you. It only hits people that are missing HP. So that's why you can stand full health and like next to somebody and just kind of like be a wisp or an IO next to them.
And when Enchantress dies, the wisps still continue to heal. So
Diabolic Edict type thing. Yep.
It is quite a long duration, 35 seconds. So that means in a kind of skirmish scenario, you're probably only getting it off once. It does last 11 seconds, but it does mean you've got to be on point with when you use it. But still great.
I was against... So I said the first 3 heroes they picked were Necro, Shadow Shaman, and Wind Ranger. And I feel like Enchantress is really great against those 3. And then they picked Meepo and Naga, and I was like, oh no. Like, Enchantress is not good against these heroes. I mean, you can take Naga illusions. That's nice. You can enchant them. But
that is nice.
I mean, she kind of puts out damage, but she doesn't really do anything against those heroes for the most part. But I still only died 3 times in a 50-minute game against those guys.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And then when you get like level 20 and you actually do have the minus or the plus 100 untouchable slow on top of the 170 already, you do become very tanky.
Yeah, even then, like Meepo and Naga, all the illusions just can't even hit you.
Yeah, they all just kind of look at you for a really long time.
Yeah. Honestly, a question I want to say is Holy Locket, if you're running this position 5 healer build, and we know you main healer, is Holy Locket first item the build? 25%
I don't know if it's
amp.
first item.
I
I was talking with someone about it yesterday. It does everything. It gives you everything that Enchantress wants, which is really weird because it's got such. I mean, not a lot of heroes want all these random components, but it's got the Ring of Tarask, so it gives you flat raw HP, which is all that Enchantress cares about, plus a little bit of regen. It gives you a mana. What's it called? Soul booster, or like whatever the mana boots, the blue orb,
Energy booster.
Energy booster, which is all you want because you do kind of have mana problems with Impetus. So you just get like a flat boost to your mana, and then it gives you a cloak, which she really wants magic resist.
Yeah, that's how she dies.
It actually wants all 3 components. It's about her and Timbersaw are like the only, and maybe in Omni or something. Honestly,
I mean, when I was considering Holy Locket on Eng, those things that you've just mentioned are almost more important than the actual heal boost. The 25% bonus is like the numbers we've just been throwing out, and even before the 25 talent, it's like you don't really need to boost 25. Your healing. You're already, if you've got the Nature's Attendance off, you're already like going to be healing to max.
Every little helps. It is a significant boost, 25%. At level 15, your 2.6 healing now becomes what? Like an extra 650 of heal in a team fight.
It's just like burst heal at that point. It's kind of crazy. You can turn fights really hard. And I guess we also didn't mention about she is really good at Roche because she just super slows Roshan.
Good point, yeah.
His attack animation. I don't know. I like her a lot. One thing is I got pretty rich that game. I was like 11, 3, and 25 as a 5-position Enchantress and still bought all the wards and sentries and stuff, but you get pretty rich if you don't die. And I haven't thought about that in a long time. If you just don't die throughout the game, you get so much more gold. So I actually had 3 items on top of buying all of the support items. I had a Atos, Force Staff, and Hex.
Kill the throne? Question mark.
That's pivoting towards like Ench 3. Ench 3 is like an interesting hero because you're sort of this. The way I would imagine you play the lane is you basically do what you can and are sort of really hard to kill with Untouchable if you want to go down that route, or indeed the Attendance route if you want to go down that route. And then you get level 6 and suddenly you're this lane monster where basically any hero has to effectively lead the lane because Impetus is just so strong. And then you become this sort of high damage position 3 that doesn't really want to build into auras but wants to build into like Pike and stuff. And it's this weird hero, the 3.
Yeah, I kind of like building bracers on her a couple, or I feel like Hood on her is very strong. That in tandem with a level 10 magic resistance talent means she's nigh unkillable at that stage of the game. But I feel like 3 isn't as good as it used to be. I mean, you would go Pike, and then they changed phase boots, so I feel like it's less good on her from a damage point. They like nerf the damage on it. The armor's nice, but then
I'm seeing a good lot.
Well, it just used to be you could enchant the siege creep, and now you can't do that. So I feel like she doesn't do the same stuff that you would want from a 3, because it used to be you could like be S4 or Chalice or something, and they would just sit you in the one lane, and you would just push that lane all the way to the tier 2s, and then somebody would have to rotate to you, and you just kind of walk away because They also nerfed her move speed. Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah,
the move speed patch, because she is intelligent. She used to be like 340, and now she's only 317, I think.
Yeah, I'm seeing a good bit of treads in with the phase here in the guides.
I feel the fact that she can't enchant siege creeps doesn't shaft her viability as a position 3 that much. I know it's nice to be like, okay, I can get this siege creep and take a tower for a bit faster, but I don't think that really is
what her
one priority is as the 3. I think she offers way more, and that was just kind of a bonus.
She can still take a troll summoner.
Yeah, she could still just chip it away, because like, yeah, the idea is if she's hard to kill without the right heroes, so then if she can get to 6, you cannot 1v1 this Ench if she's 6 and you're not some like weird hero that has got some mechanic that can cope with impetus. I don't even know if anyone has that.
It's about pretty much the life stealer.
Even then,
and then everyone else is just like, if you play it right, you're okay. You're fine.
Yeah. The only heroes that can 1v1 an Ench at that point is heroes that just burst. Like Lena, like
that
crazy burst
potential.
Kill potential.
Outright, yeah.
Magic kill potential, like a Zeus or something maybe. But even Zeus, you're just going to get impetus and die.
And and even when you bring multiple heroes to the lane, at that point in the stage when, say, she just hit 6, 7, she's maybe got a phase boost up and running, the enemy supports are typically low level, so they don't really have these high damage spells able to burst her down. So when they rock up to a lane with a stun and then the enemy carries like trying to hurt you, you're just laughing and you just run away and it's fine. So even when they bring heroes to your lane, it still like doesn't achieve anything because everyone else is just too weak relative to you. So then she can bully a lane or just get a free lane, get a tower, chip it away. And it's just really strong at that late early game stage for sure.
Definitely.
I was going
to say it becomes this like dead lane, just to literally just follow up on what Mark was saying. It becomes this dead lane that you can't really go to. You've got a hero sitting in the lane, like what Adam was saying, like this S4 mold or Chalice mold, where there's an Ench effectively making the enemy team unable to farm in one of the 3 lanes. Then the game just becomes a lot harder to play. You have to commit so heavily if you want to go on this Ench, and even then it's really risky, and it just makes the game so much easier for the Ench team because you've got a free lane and you can focus. Ench doesn't need any other heroes there once she's level 6, so it just makes the game a lot easier to play. That's like the classic advantage of the Ench 3, like the dream Ench 3 situation.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play because you just right click and that's it. They just maybe you have a Blightstone, but it's like you're not even getting amped right clicks. It's nothing. You don't have any, orbs or other things. You're just subtly harassing people with right clicks, and then they start to turn to run away, and that's when you hit them with the enchant, and they just die. And then just snowballs from there. Another one that's really fun to do is to enchant off Inkswell from a Grimstroke.
Ooh, that's a cool one.
That's so much fun because they just die because he's actually not tanky.
I wouldn't even expect that. I'd use Inkswell, position really aggressively with it because I'm like, well, my Inkswell's about to pop on them, so fine. Gets dispelled, and I'm like, wait, now I'm just dead for sure. Tell you what, I was thinking about the Ench. If I was going to play an Ench 3 now, I'd be thinking maybe of doing like a Dragonlance drums and then going back for the pike. I feel like drums must be a good item on her. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, I think it is good on her.
Yeah, I can get behind that. One of her strengths definitely is her speed. I don't know, Adam saying it's 317, that sounds pretty poor because she did used to be notoriously fast. But still with phase drums, she is sprunking everywhere and hard to lock down. So yeah, could get behind that.
Gets a little bit of stats, a little bit of that move speed back that she needed. Wand is also really strong on her from a 3. Because all you need to do is to survive the initial burst, the tiniest bit of stun, and then you pop the wand, and then your attendance, and you're back to full.
Yeah, that's such a good point, actually. Wand's incredible on Ench. Such a good wand hero. I feel like also on Ench 3, I feel like Hurricane Pike's the only core item. Maybe drums, but I don't think it's core, but Pike's the one item you really want. And then other than that, I feel like you do have quite a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
I like Hood a lot on her.
Yeah, I could see
that. That's just like based on the lineup. If you get the Hood, and the Hood active just makes you actually just unkillable.
Yeah, and you can build into the pipe as well.
Yeah. It's going to take multiple ults to kill you, like a Lena Necro double ult. Then maybe they can get you.
Yeah.
Even then, like, along with Wand, if it's really that bad, you just get a raindrop. She's just I don't know.
Yeah.
a lot of her utility just comes from the fact she's so annoying to kill. And then she can tank through so much, and then you kill somebody on the counter, and then you spam your "I love winning" emote, and it's the best.
The question I got about Ench is, so this hero is unkillable. You know, say you get Hood, you're unkillable, but I don't think you want to play Ench like a tank, like some frontline super durable. You know, like you'd play like an Underlord, say for example. So, in terms of the mid game and the late game, like, how do you want to be playing the fights? Do you want to be running at heroes, being the first, initiating a fight with the slow, or do you want to be like playing out of vision and turning up later, like a sniper kind of style? Or is it just all game dependent and depends on how strong you are and stuff like that?
I think she's fun because she's, to me, should be played as a almost. It's kind of not glass cannon, it's just cannon frontlining and debating. Because I think if there's some kind of fight opportunity arising, she's there and able to throw pew, 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 3 impetuses off them bail. She could like clean up a support, or she could do half a core's HP. But also, she's so good at kind of baiting and tanking spells. So spells, say, because she can do Nature's Attendant. Also, like, kind of just because she's hard to kill naturally with speed and untouchable, if she's taking the attention of the enemy, that's a massive win for you. And then with items like Phase Drums, Force Staff, she's super mobile, so you can be in, out, shake it all about. And I feel like that's where her major value would come from, all those components together. However, jumping earlier in a game, I wanted to mention that I feel one of her big struggles is the fact that when you get to this, there comes a mid-game point when people get an item or get max levels in spells where then they're able to deal with the Ench, like BKBs, or they just get like level 2 ults and level 4 in a couple spells, and then they're able to actually lock her down and kill her. And that's where I feel like she is most vulnerable. And therefore it's so important that from that point and before until that late early game point, like level 7, where she's peak strength, I feel like the Ench has to do quite a lot of work, and that if she doesn't, and if she's just a bit passive about her power spike and advantage, that if you just like passively get to that mid game point, she now isn't as much of a threat. That's something I just wanted to mention. But yeah, I think the way she's fighting is very like in out, looking to output a lot of damage, but also and looking to be alive for the entirety of the fight. Also, it's a bonus if she can be like taking attention and taking resources on her as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's sort of how I see it as well. It's like this Ench is almost like a classic bait hero. You just like stick the Ench in the lane, and if enemies want to go, then it's like Adam said. All you need to do is, I don't know, any kind of basic counter initiation, say like a Fissure, or like any kind of stun, a tornado. It doesn't matter what it is. And then, like, you're screwed because you need to perfectly burst this Ench. So it's like a perfect bait hero. You just throws a couple impetuses, kites backwards a bit. Oh, like, let's go on the Ench. She's by herself or whatever. Bang, Fissure. Oh, our initiation on Ench is messed up. And then it's like, you're in such a good situation because you can't, running away from an Ench is going to be bad news for you and your team with impetus and with slow.
She can Force Staff away on 20% HP. Slap down the Nature's Attendant, 5 seconds later return max HP, not lost any of her kit. The enemy team's like, oh fuck, we fucked it, and just getting chomped by the impetuses and your enemy team, your allied teams there, etc. That would definitely be the ideal scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I guess also the mid-game and later mid-game fighting depends on, well, yeah, it's obviously going to be game dependent, and then to that, her item choice, and then to that, the point you make about how flexible it is, that is another kind of fun aspect of the hero that I feel like she could pick up, say, after a Pike is completed. I think Orchid or Hex or Nullifier would all be viable. Maybe Ags if it's like she's really dependent to be even more damage outputting. I don't know if Blink's a thing. Athos, that's a great,
tankiness and holding someone in place. Because that is one thing, if She doesn't really do that much damage if they're right next to you. But if they're running away, oh man, she deals so much damage if they're running away.
Just scrolling through some of these guides, there's actually a number of options you can go. So, for example, you can definitely go this like hard damage build. So I've got one here which is phase, drums, pike, then BKB, MKB, hex. So that's very much like, I am a core, I'm going to do a shit ton of damage and you're going to be impetused to the face. Another similar one, power treads, pike, ags, MKB, moonshard. There's another crazy one with MKB and a moonshard and a pike as well, and that's with a casual hood first and nod to Adam. Interestingly, I don't think this is probably some experimental build, but Faith Bian with the treads, BKB, Heart of Tarask, Mjolnir, Ags, and then Pike. That's a questionable build. But to go to the point that I was going to make is, as well as those builds, there's very much actually a surprisingly high number of these position 3s that are going like Pike, always Pike, but then a lot of people going Pipe after, Lotus Orb after, Spirit Vessel after. There's one here with a Crimson Guard. I'm sure that was game specific. Just so in games where you don't necessarily need to deal a ton of damage, you can still go for these more team orientated items out of your position 3 ench if you want, the options there, because basically all you need to get the most out of impetus and get the most out of this toolkit that helps her be a baity and be mobile, and like what we were saying about that playstyle of like being annoying in the lanes, all you really need is a Hurricane Pike and your spells. You don't need to like put 3 items to really utilize your impetus damage and stuff. You can build into the pipes, and even like a Solar Crest you could probably do, I'm sure, or Lotus, whatever the team needs. So you do have those options. Always a bonus. Final question on Ench that I wanted to ask is one that is probably we touched on already, but basically in what situations you wouldn't want to pick Ench, what heroes are like really good against Ench. Is it just like burst heroes really, or is there any other things you're looking for to when you're thinking about whether or not I should pick Ench?
I don't like dealing with Lifestealer at later stages of the game because Rage is really strong. Impetus is nice because it does pierce spell immunity. It's like all these heroes, there's a nice song and dance between them. It's like, yeah, Lifestealer can get on top of you in Rage, and then he gets through your untouchable, but then it's like, okay, well, I can deal damage through his Rage as well. And then the same with like Ursa. If an Ursa gets ahead, he can jump on you and then just pop Overpower, and you can't really do anything. But if he pops Overpower and you purge it, you're ahead. So really just lots of stuns, like Sand King or Lena, Necro if he gets his ult on you. Even just like Spirit Breaker is kind of annoying. He can't like bash you, but he can charge you, chase you, and then Nether Strike you, or maybe like Disruptor. I don't know. If someone has a lot of catch, because part of it is just like they initially try to catch you and then you just run away. But if they can keep chasing you, it's not as great. And she's not really good from behind, if that makes sense. If she starts to die a lot, she's going to die a ton.
Yeah.
If you don't get enough items or just like raw HP.
Yeah, I can definitely see this
over and over and over again.
Reverse snowball, just die. News just in: Adam is a fraud. Enchantress has a positive advantage against Lena, Disruptor, Lena, Disruptor, Lifestealer, and Spirit Breaker is all bad, all good for Ench by the stats.
If you pop Nature's Attendance, you can live through anything. I think you might actually be able to out-heal a Static Storm if you pop Nature's Attendance.
Although these Dota buff stats will be across all skill levels, so I don't know how. I'm positive the win rate, the advantages will change as you go through MMRs. But just to give a head nod to the stats, Naga Siren is statistically the worst matchup, has a 5% disadvantage, and then PL, PA, Pudge, Morphling, Tinker, Pugna, I guess they all make sense. Leshrac, another one that's got a really bad win rate against. Those all make sense. Skywrath Mage makes sense. Just like, they're basically just crazy magic and burst.
Yeah.
And then Pudge, Hook is going to be bad, I suppose. That all makes sense, I guess. It's always nice with PL when you can... If PL gets... Well, I mean, I was going to say if PL gets 25, but really if PL in general is quite nice against Impetus, because you can never really go on PL because he disjoints all the impetuses while they're in the air. The crazy rainbows, see them in mid-flight and you just doppelganger and you're laughing. In the same vein as Ench, we have Omniknight. I say in the same vein because just like Enchantress, this hero is a 3 or a 5. I've only really seen him played as a 3, but Marco was talking to me before we started recording about the emergence of like Omni 5 and how some of the pro coaches, the VP coach, was saying how he sees Omni as a 5, which was interesting to me because I haven't really thought about that angle before. Marco, when you think about Omni 5, what is it that stands out to you about this hero that makes his kit pretty well suited to actually position 5?
Yeah, I think so. It was definitely VP's coach that said he saw it more as a 5. I'm trying to remember if I've seen Puppy run it as a 5. I feel like I might have, but I'm not certain. But to be honest, it's similar to these. I don't know if you've got a hero like Oracle or Abaddon or Shadow Demon. I mean, Shadow Demon is often 4, but he has a spell kit that you can just get major value out of without the hero having any items from gold, right? Like the Heavenly Grace, the fact that it applies a strong dispel, and then it adds you the status resistance, HP, strength. Like if the enemy team has got some particularly heavy single target focus lockdown, and A, that I feel like is sufficient in itself, but then B, if you've got some synergy of someone else thinking about as a 5, if you've got strength position 1 heroes that are very flavor like Wraith King or Sven or a Lifestealer, well, all of this hero needs to do to add immense value is cast 1 button. So that's like why 5 positions are often great, just by virtue of the spells being so impactful. And then he's also got his ultimate, which you just pop in a big team fight like Warlock would do, and you've added what you need to add there. To me, like, just his spells make it kind of not obvious, but I don't see why it couldn't be run as a 5. Maybe you argue it was laning would be too weak to run as a 5. Don't like say Warlock, you can have this good sustain of your heal, and you've got a right click, which is ranged attack, so it's a bit more useful in the lane. And so Omni doesn't have that, and his heal sustain isn't as great. But then at the same time, if you've got kind of a strong lane partner, you can be right clicking the enemy off laner and trade in a massive purification, and it kind of be sufficient. So yeah, I don't see reason why Omni shouldn't be run as a 5, really.
Man, at max, it gives Heavenly Grace gives 28 damage to his strength core and 240 healing, and then 50% status resistance.
Yeah, the value of Heavenly Grace on a strength core is bonkers. Maybe one argument against the position 5 Omni is that these spells are quite mana intensive. So the low cooldown, which makes this guy so strong in fights which go over, what I said was prolonged fights. So if you've got an engagement that's going on for like 30, 40 seconds, you can get 3 to 4 Heavenly Grace and heals off, which is bonkers value. However, that is quite mana intensive, so maybe I don't know if mana boots is sufficient for this hero to get lots of spells off. I'm not super familiar with it, with the hero's attributes. Maybe that's an argument for why the 5 isn't like suitable. But yeah, just its spells in a vacuum are so strong that I feel like there's good argument to run it as a 5.
I suppose the downside of the position 5 Omniknight is you don't provide any disable at all. I mean, DJ Nora doesn't count because you're a position 5, so you're not really going to be running around.
You're going to be super slow anyways. You're never going to be on top of anyone.
Yeah, your DJ Nora is not a spell for position 5 Omni. So you don't provide any disable. You're just not a proactive support at all. Whereas, not only don't you provide disable, but the enemy heroes don't really have to like answer for you. Whereas a position 3 Omni, yes, you also don't provide any disable because again, DJ Nora is quite an underwhelming spell. Position 3, you're going to be able to use it because you can be on top of people a bit more. But when you've got farm and you have a bit more gold and you've spent it on whatever your core Omni spending it on, perhaps a Radiance, perhaps got Greaves or S and Y even I've seen or whatever, then you're harder to ignore because you're like right in the middle of the action and you're the one pushing the lane. You're the one doing this and that. But
yeah, I don't think the D-Gen Aura is ever really going to be his main threat focus. And I know you can run these core Omnis where you do get this kind of fun right-click Rady, Sanjanyasha stuff where, yeah, it is value. But going to a point about, okay, he doesn't have any lockdown, is that problematic? Well, I think ideally you're going to run Omniknight in a scenario where the enemy team are naturally more aggressive or have a game plan of we need to be more aggressive and we need to get more done. If we don't achieve this, then we're kind of fucked because the enemy team's got some better scale in late game hero. So the dream scenario, if you're the Omni and you're laned with a Sven, so as we said, strength synergy, the enemy team's like, oh crap, we can't like go later against this Sven because we don't have anyone to farm as well as him and hit as hard as him in the late game. Well, okay, let's draft aggression and spells and lockdowns. But then if you've got an Omniknight, you're just doing the strong dispel and all this heal and all this save. You don't need lockdown in that kind of matchup, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
I feel like when Omni works, he works so well. So yeah, he doesn't have lockdown. This could be problematic, but in the right lineup where you don't need lockdown, you just need to like keep your POS 1 alive and healthy to the mid and late game, and then just buff him in that mid-late game phase when you're having these big team fight prolonged skirmishes. Hero seems bloody strong.
Yeah, and to follow on from the point you made, I guess the conclusion would be for me a bit more something like you don't necessarily want to be picking Omniknight like first pick support, position 5 Omni. There are probably more well-rounded supports that are going to naturally fit into any team better. Whereas Omni can be is more situational, but when that situation does arrive, you're against a very aggressive team, or you have a core that scales sufficiently well that you can basically make it your objective to babysit him, and that's going to be okay. So yeah, it's more like a situational pick that can be really, really good.
Well, having said that, obviously the 3 role is really more common prominent. And more prominent, and for good reason. And so yeah, even though it's your 3 role that has no lockdown, it seems like, well, because of this heavily grace making him so tanky, like really tanky, state of resistance, HP, regen, etc., this guy seems to lane pretty well if he's got a lane partner and therefore can find farm. And then from what I've seen in games, in my own experience and watching some programs maybe, when this guy, if he gets just a couple items like a Soul Ring and a Greaves, and you just ball up and make these like 3v3, 4v4 or 5v5 fights happen, if that hero's not dead, he's just, I can't just believe how much value he can add when he's getting the, like I say, 4 purifications off and 4 heavenly graces off and getting a like 1 if not 2 arcane greaves off, and then he's got a big ult where none of you take physical damage. Like if this hero's not dealt with straight up and he's in a 3 role and he's been able to secure farm, it's just crazy scary. So yeah, maybe the answer is you don't let this guy kind of snowball his farm or have an easy lane or have an easy game and you look to kind of hard counter him or like really shut him down. Sure, but if that doesn't happen, I feel like it's really strong.
Yeah, and it's so hard to shut an Omniknight down in the lane because he can just go QW and just forget Degen Aura when he's with this 3 and just basically become almost impossible to completely just bully out of lane.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't, if he does have a favourable lane, you can get some points in the Degen Aura and actually dominate the lane a bit more with Purification and Degen. It doesn't necessarily need his Heavenly Grace quite as much.
That's my favorite version, is the phase boot Orb Venom Degen Aura.
Yeah, that's
it's
so
the
fun.
same as Enchantress. You just bot people, except this time it's with a hammer, and you just hit them, and they just can't. Maybe they're at the secret shop, or the side shop, and then they can't make it back to their tower because they're so slow. You just hit them with your hammer.
He's got one of my favorite attack animations, I think.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to use, but just like visually and sound. The
Yeah.
sound, yeah, so good.
And it was it used to be the 3 Omniknight. You would just go phase boots and Radiance or something. Phase boots, Soul Ring, and Radiance. I don't think you do that anymore.
You can. I mean, some people still do. You can throw a Vlad's in there, or get a Bracer, Phase Boots, Bracer, Radi, or Phase Boots, Bracer, Vlad's, Radi, or something. It's not uncommon. Not uncommon at all.
Another point about viability of the 5 Omniknight is that he's got a nice 90 GPM talent at level 10.
His talents are so strange on the whole. That's one of looking at them.
Yeah, they are weird, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 90 GPM is great at level 10, but then at 15, it's 90 damage or 35 XP, and that has to be 35 XP if you're a 5. And then it's what do you do as a 3? I guess you go 90 damage, but that's a lot of damage. It might be the most.
I think you have to take that.
I think that's the most at level 15. It'd have to be out of any hero. But then level 20, I think level 20 is actually just not a talent. It's not a slot. 5 mana regen or minus 12 Degen Aura at level 20.
That has to be one of the worst, if not the worst level 20 talent. 5 mana regen
at level 20?
Yeah, what hero has a mana regen talent at 20? What?
And I think you actually go it because 12 extra movement speed slow and Degen Aura might be just useless at that point.
Yeah.
The only value you get from that talent is the fact that you get rid of the notification on the talent tree.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think it's the most useless level 20 talent in the game. So you have the most damage at level 15 and a decently high XP gain. And then you have this useless level 20.
Interesting though, Detective Stan, this plus 5 mana regen talent has a 7.7% win rate advantage over Degen Aura. That's a big advantage if the talents were negligible difference.
Yeah, I do think the 5 is just far and away better, but it looks like it's picked a lot less.
It's picked, it's a 25% pick rate.
Yeah.
Versus 75, so it is picked less, yeah.
But then if you look at the win rates, you have a 70% win rate if you get the mana regen, as opposed to 63% if you get the Degen, which does that just basically mean if you hit level 20 on Omniknight, you get to win the game? I mean, that's pretty much...
That's pretty high, yeah, 70%.
If you get to level 20 on Omniknight, but not to level 25. No, never mind. Yeah, if you get to high level as Omni, you just actually win the game.
I mean, the play is, you get level 20, but you don't get level 25, because the win rate on 5 mana regen is 70%, but then both of the 25 talents, the win rate's less than that.
Yeah, so, it goes down to 69.7.
Yeah. So the players don't get to level 25, just get 20, and then don't get any more XP.
Or don't skill the talent.
And then do you get 200 heal, so it makes your heal instead of 300, it's 500, and that's also pure damage? Or do you go Heavenly Grace, because then that becomes a 6-second cooldown for a 12-second effect?
You have to go Heavenly Grace. Because
I agree.
In the late game, 200 damage heal is not changing games, but another stronger spell, etc., is definitely. That's actually
you could have Heavenly Grace up on 2 people at the same time, or you could just cast it again on the same person to have double dispel.
I would think just purely off the fact that you've got a double hard dispel, makes it insanely better. But both of these talents have a 50% have a 50% pick rate, so they're picked just as much as each other. And the Purification damage heal has a 1% higher win rate.
I reckon the higher ranked games are picking the Heavenly Grace because they understand its value rather than they just want to do more damage.
Yeah, I agree. I would expect that also.
Maybe.
I like Aether Lens on this hero a lot.
You like what, sorry?
Aether Lens on this hero a lot.
True.
As a 3, you think you can fit Aether Lens in? I don't think maybe
the
as a
3
5
needs it. I think the 5 is value.
Yeah, the 5 is value because you run into the Abaddon problems of just cast range.
Yeah, but I do feel like you are probably tanky enough, even as just a strength 5, to be close enough. It's not necessarily
it's just the move speed. You just have no move speed.
Yeah, you are slow, I suppose. I feel like even as a 5, though, you really do want to get like a mech, don't you? Like, it was quick.
As a 5, I don't know. Are you getting that much gold?
As 5, I just feel like you get 4-staff or something.
Yeah, 4-staff also is another really good one.
Just like a mana boot, and then like maybe a drum or just a casual windlace or something. Maybe you go probably don't go tranquils and then another windlace. Then you'd actually be decently fast. But you would have maybe you could go soul ring tranquils. Yeah, I don't know.
I do think 4-star's a good item on Omni support for sure. It's one you want to consider a lot. Yeah. One last thing about Omni as well is, in relation to Enchantress, you can't dispel Heavenly Grace. That's undispellable.
Yeah.
But you can dispel a Guardian Angel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought it would be that way around. But
other thing is that they re-added Guardian Angel healing buildings again. So, late game, if you get that Ags, you can heal your buildings.
That's sick.
Go Omniknight Lich Treants late game build where you literally just can't lose, and then you win by virtue of the other team just abandons after hours.
Yeah. I think it was TI 5 where they had the pros versus, or they that's when they debuted the 10v10 DotA. Was that what it was? And they had like pros and people from the crowd intermixed. Does this ring a bell at all?
I've seen videos of it.
And what was that? What was that guy's name? That somebody had a really memey name and it got really popular. Well, anyways, that game came down to Omniknight Ags, and it like was an extra glyph, basically, that saved the throne, and then the other team won, and it was just like, oh my god, Omniknight Ags actually did something. It was pretty crazy. I remember, like, probably the best because it replaced like the All-Star game that year, I think. So it was like the best, most exciting All-Star / game that they had in TI.
And make the All-Star game great again.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of fun game they try and make happen at TI, like I think interaction with the crowd, 5v5 or something, or.
Yeah, that would be fun if they did an interaction thing. Didn't they do something like that last year? They did some weird game mode that was just trash, like towers in weird places. I didn't even watch it. Oh,
you could it sounded like it was going to be cool, but then it ended up just being bad.
It was just broken. Like,
they got to pick things to do to the map and stuff, and so somebody had like a pocket tower, and then it just didn't work the way they wanted it to. Like, they were going to do some cheese thing where they were going to plant the tower in the triangle, and it was just going to farm all the camps for them, and then it just didn't actually hit anything. And yeah.
So I want them to just do a normal. I just think they should do reverse captains mode and do it for like Radiant and Dire, 2 different charities. Valve puts up like 10k or something to the winner of whichever team wins, like their charity gets 10k or whatever, and then they do a reverse captains mode and just play, or just captains mode and just play.
So I looked up the All-Star game from TI 5, and it was Team No Tail versus Team Chuan. It was 118 to 104 kill score because it was 10v10, and there was a guy called 420 Booty Wizard on one team, and it was just like they had to, Casey was interviewing them and they had to say their name.
Right.
And he was just like 420 Booty Wizard. He said, and everyone just was like, "Oh my god, this." Yeah, but they have a write-up. They have a play-by-play on the on this wiki of the game, and it says, after taking a decisive team fight, Team Chuan headed down mid to end the game once and for all. But as the Radiant Ancient neared destruction, it was shielded by Omniknight's Guardian Angel. With these precious few seconds, Ice made liberal use of Walrus Kick, pushing away the remaining team members of Team Chuan, sometimes into the fountain. That was so sick. I would recommend it as a watch. I forgot about the Walrus Kick. It was an absolutely epic game.
Man, give me more of come down with me storytelling. That's what I really
It was just like Omniknight Ags and then Tusk Ags, and actually both of them did things. Like, that's super sick.
Yeah, that's a recipe for a spectacle. So, I guess that brings us to the end. Episode 33. We'll be back again on Friday, I guess, in a week. No Tuesday episode in the week upcoming. Thank you to Adam and Marco. Thank you to Sproink, and thank you to the Power of Omniscience.
And thank you to America.
Oh,
happy 4th of July.
Oh yeah, sorry, I should have said at the start, because I mean, according to our Libsyn stats, America carries our listener figures. So actually, I feel like we've got no listeners left because we didn't say happy 4th of July. Interestingly, though, it's me and Marco, both of our mum's birthday today. So we've all got an event to celebrate. There you go.
And now are your mom's sisters? Or is it?
Okay.
Wait, I've never heard of that before. It's two siblings having the same birthday?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. 9 years apart.
That's pretty rare. 9 years apart. Damn.
We also had a first, so jumping just to real life, I had a first experience, or we did. So we were en route on the motorway to the Lake District, and we had a car tire split as we're driving along, so we had to pull over to the hard shoulder, and tank sitting on the grass in the sun for 3 hours before we could get rescued. So what was meant to be a nice birthday outing got shafted for a few hours.
Yeah,
that sucks.
So do you know when you're on the motorway and you're driving past those scrubs that you see pulled up on the left, and you're those fucking noobs? That was us today. It felt really bad.
You didn't
have a spare?
No.
Oh, no spare. Okay.
As if we could deal with it even if we did.
That's better than what happened to me when I was driving with my dad, and my dad was like, right, let's change this wheel then. And then I had to, it was the scariest thing I've ever done. I was lorries were going past at 70 miles per hour about 2 feet away from me. Whereas me and my dad are I have to help my dad change this tire. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just scared of this lorry that's almost 2 feet away from me. It's the loudest noise ever. It's terrifying.
So for all the American listeners, a lorry is a truck, apparently.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Truck's like a small lorry. A small lorry is a truck.
So you're talking about an 18-wheeler?
Kind of, although I feel like 18-wheelers are even bigger than... I'm almost positive that your lorries, your trucks, big trucks, are going to be bigger than our lorries, I have a feeling. But yeah, they're pretty. There are some big ones knocking about.
Some monster trucks knocking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, happy 4th of July. Happy Independence. Enjoy it. We'll be back one day. Yeah. Join us again for Ep 34 in a week. Bye.
Pog.